Hello, boys. Welcome back. So, today I'm gonna be showcasing my first ever world in this game called TimberBorn. This is a pretty decent game which has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. And honestly, I've played this game for quite some time now, a couple of days, a week, I guess. And it's been mad fun with this game. It's basically set in a world, a post-apocalyptic world, where humans have destroyed the earth and either died out or gone or whatever. And now it's time for the beavers to stand up and take care of the world. So, water is a very important aspect of this game, and you have to manage the water and the resources that need the water. And there is drought seasons, normal water seasons, bad water seasons, and everything. So it's a strategy sandbox survival builder city management type game, and yeah, I've been hooked onto this game for a very long time. So for my first world, this is set in the lakes map, and I'm playing with the standard settings with the standard difficulty and the Folktail beavers, which are the standard beavers. And I just wanted to showcase how this world turned out to me. I built this world in the second run, basically. The first run, I kind of messed it up because I ran out of food, and the game really taught me a good lesson out there. This game can go into a downward spiral really soon, really fast. So you have to make sure you're always balancing your resources, having not just enough but more than enough, so that anytime you go into expansion, there is always a surplus for you to manage. And the game really doesn't tell you how much you really need, how much you don't really need, and that kind of stuff. All right, so this is my world. It's on the lakes map, so it is a beginner friendly map. But this is my second run, and I wanted to showcase everything, discuss how I built the world, what all I've built, where all I've built, how I've built, why I've built, and so on and so forth. Alright, let's unpause the game. Alright. So this is the primary district. District 0, which I've named as Prime OTP. Yeah, I have no clue why I've named it like that, but that's my Prime OTP district. So I initially started with this, just the town center, and everything else what you see here, it's all built after this. To begin with, this district, when you start, there is a couple of berry bushes out here in this small section. Berry bushes are a very good food source in this for the initial game, but later on you realize that berries are not actually that good because they take a lot of time to develop. Let me see if I have some berries around. Yeah, so they take 12 days to mature, 12 days to grow, and then another 12 days, I think, to produce the berries. So that's roughly 24 days. I don't know if that's a full cycle or something, or almost a full cycle. But yeah, it takes a shit ton of days for the berries to develop. But it is a good source, a constant source which you don't need to take care of anything else. There's no secondary buildings you need to build to manage the blueberries. It can be eaten raw. There was a small berry farm here. Then I started with a large carrot farm. Now there are a couple of foods in this game. Where is it? Yeah, crops. There's carrots, there's sunflower, potatoes, wheat, spadderdock, cattail. As of now, these are the only foods, crops which are there. I'm sure as the game gets updated, more and more crops, more and more foods, and more things may come up. Yeah, and carrot was one of the first food I got to try. It was good, but you needed a large area for producing a large amount of carrots, which somehow got used up really very quickly. I never understood why and how that got used up so quickly. I mean, the berries with a smaller area had more storage than the carrots, so I eventually just gave up on the carrots entirely. Now I have a single carrot in my whole map, and that carrot is stuck in a district that where there are no beavers, so it's kind of just staying there, rotting away forever. So I had a large carrot farm in the beginning here, all the way down till here, where my potato farm is right now, and where the earth recultivator is set up. It was a good first start. There were a lot of carrots being produced, but it was never really enough. Food-wise, I think carrots are okay. I wouldn't say too bad, but just okay. Not good for expansion, not at all. Berries are somewhat okay. Berries are better than carrots, I feel, because having berries in a particular area produced more than carrots, and carrots required water. Carrots required you to plant them and then harvest them, and for such a large area with only two efficient farmhouses. Actually, I had one more efficient farmhouse which I removed. But yeah, there were two efficient farmhouses here. So it took a shit ton of time to plant and harvest the carrots. And I eventually just gave up on that and moved on to better crops. So this is my starting district, Prime OTP. Right now it's filled with bot part factories, bot assemblers, and then refineries, etc. So the way I played this game initially was, this is my second run by the way, so I didn't really know the basics of anything. I didn't know what was bad water. I mean, I kind of knew that bad water damages your crops, but I did not realize the significant impact it had and the need for, storing up water. Storing water is something that's very, very important in this game, which as someone plays this game around, they will get to know. Okay, so initially how I played was I built up large farms all the way down and built enough storage for the farms. All this was carrot and berry storages initially. Now it's all bread and bot factory parts. And then what I used to do was, during the normal water season, take care, harvest as much as I can, collect as much as I can water, and store them all. And when the drought season or the bad water season begins, just use up from the surplus which you have already stored. This was my initial way. Right now it's not like that. Right now it's much better, and I don't ever have to worry about storing anything because I have made the map into a good reservoir system where the water is stored in long enough for the dry season to pass. In fact, it can get stored enough for 2 dry seasons to pass. So it's in a way self-sufficient. This map, this base which I've built, is a very self-sufficient base. I can play this actively by allowing some water flow for the water wheels to generate power, or I can just close up this sluice over here and just leave the game on running, and it'll never fail because the amount of water I'm storing across my base with sluice and dams is enough for me to sustain not 1 but 2 cycles of drought. And then 2 cycles of drought, and obviously if there's bad tide, 2 cycles of bad tide as well. I'm talking about the maximum limit. That's the amount of water which is there in here, and I don't ever have to worry. And in fact, I can just I've set up a system here which I'll explain in some time that ensures that during the good season the water is always flowing, and during the bad season the water just drains away, and any excess that gets accumulated also gets drained away. So let me explain that system in a short time, but first let me finish up with the primary district. So I started with carrots, a large carrot farm which got used relatively quickly, and I did keep carrots for a very long time, at least up to 3 districts, before I finally discovered the powers of wheat. Wheat in this game is one of the best sources of food, or rather the best source of food, because it not only produces 3 wheat per 10 days, which is lesser than carrot I would say, but the thing is you can convert wheat into bread, and a small patch of wheat farm produces enough bread to feed the whole district. Like for example, in this in the primary district, I have a wheat farm here. This was initially a potato farm, but then I realized potatoes are not producing enough food for them because I have to produce potatoes and then grill them, cook them as well. I think I have one. No, I've removed the cook. There is one option to cook the potatoes. Let's see, where can I find that? Yeah, the grill. Yes, the grill is a building where you can cook the potatoes to make it edible, and that was something which I used to do, but that was also not enough. Like the carrots, no matter how many potatoes I did make, it was just never enough to feed the population. Wheat was the one thing that I really enjoyed in this game because just a small square patch of this much. Let's see how many blocks this is. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 11, and I think 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 11 13. Just this much patch is good enough for the entire district of like I think 100 or something. Let's see how many population. Yeah, 88 beavers, and I have 50 bots here as well, but 88 beavers, 12 children, that's roughly around 100 beavers. So this much patch is more than enough. I've gone excess over here with this, because of which I have excess amount of bread and wheat. But a small patch is very good to produce enough food for the entire district and more. In fact, this small patch is producing wheat for multiple districts, not just one district. So food-wise, wheat is one of the best foods you can actually have in this game. Okay, so initially this was a potato farm, this was a carrot farm, and I did survive a little bit with that. And this was the primary district out here. I had the basic inventor research labs. I didn't have the observatories initially. And yeah, they were researching, I was unlocking stuff. It was pretty decent. The unlocking as well, I think I unlocked a lot of stuff very late in the game. For example, sluice. This was a magic concept for me when I unlocked it. It basically allows water with certain conditions to flow through it or not. So if I can set the settings to close above contamination 0%, so even if the water is a little bit contaminated, it will close and prevent any dirty water from entering the system. This is what I've done to the majority of my sluices near the borders. So these are the borders of my map. This is one sluice here, one sluice here, and one sluice here. The water source is right here. Here's the water source. There's one more water source over here. Two water sources here. And there's one more water source at this side of the map, which I've completely blocked off and made sure it just goes back. I don't really need this much amount of water in this game. I think even with one water source, I can manage the entire game. This one, I completely just blew up this whole thing, detonated it, and whatever water comes here, good water, bad water, it just flows away. If I would keep this sluice open over here, it would fill it up here and eventually flood up my entire district here. This is a smart district. I'll explain this in some time. It would flood up the entire smart district over here. So one of the water sources, I've just completely diverted it away, but the other two water sources, so there's one water source here, and then there's one more water source here. What I've done is I've built a dam around it. For that water source, I built a dam here. I've built two dams here. I'll explain the logic of why two dams. Initially, I built a dam just here with these triple floodgates, thinking I'll just allow good water to come in here and bad water to go here. But the problem is, during the bad water cycle, the water comes in. The bad water does go away into the drain over here, which I have built. But some bad water gets accumulated here, and it takes roughly a whole cycle for the bad water to just naturally flush away over here. And sometimes it doesn't even flush away. So I have to go ahead and manually open the sluice and then make it go all the way down through my base, through the entirety of the base, and then flush it down wherever the exits are. There are I think one more is here. Yeah, there are two exits, so I had to manually flush the bad water, because of which I decided let's not keep a deeper crevice here and instead build up the sluice right near the entrance. Now this sluice is a better option than this one, and here even if some bad water does get accumulated in these 3 blocks or something, it easily gets drained away without any worries at all. So that's one water source. There's one water source which comes from here. So now that water source which comes here, there are two sets of sluices here. One set to allow the good water, one set to allow the bad water. I've set this one condition to close above contamination to 0%. Basically, I don't want even a drop of bad water to enter my main system. So the good water goes here. And then if there is even a drop of contamination, like even 1% of contamination, the water just flows down this particular sluice network. And this one, I've exploded it, detonated it till bedrock level. This is the last level, till bedrock level. And whatever bad water comes here, it just flows down and flows through this and outside the map. Similarly for this source of water which I've got here, it comes down here, there are two pathways for it. One pathway which allows the good water to come down and go into my system of districts, and another sluice system which pushes out the bad water. The condition I've set for the bad water is close below contamination 1%. So it essentially means open above contamination 1%. So even if the water is 1% contaminated, it'll just flow down here and flow through this sluice which I've kept to open always and flow away. Similarly, if there is excess, let's say in cases of passive gameplay wherein I just leave the gameplay running for a large build to take place, then I can just stop one of my downstream sluice, which is over here, this sluice, and once this gets stopped, all this will start getting filled, and it'll all backfill, fill up all the reservoirs which are there. These are all very naturally there. I did make some adjustments to it, like increase its depth and add sluices and barriers everywhere else. And then this is the main upstream reservoir. So eventually this will start getting filled. And so the way I've set it up is, as soon as this starts getting filled, excess water which is coming down, the water doesn't stop. So all the excess water which comes, it fills up and then floods the next level. Now while it floods the next level, the system is such that for example here, if it floods the next level, it still goes down the excess drain. So I never really have to worry about flooding at all, because whatever excess water comes just goes down the drain. Even similarly here, this water source, as soon as it's filled, and excess water will just flow down here. I think most of these are flooded. Oh no, these are contaminated and died. But yeah, I bet you even if they're not contaminated, they would have died because of flooding. Because many times I've just left the game on a pause, on a passive gameplay, wherein I let the game run, I let the builders finish their building. And so flooding used to happen a lot. This took a lot of trial and error to perfect this system. The system which I've got right now will store water for a very long time. I've seen it successfully store water for an entire maximum drought of 9 days, I think, or at least that's the standard difficulty drought, 9 days. Beyond 9 days as well, it's been able to manage, albeit some of the coastal parts of the reservoirs did start getting dried. The deeper parts always remained full. So some crops were saved, some crops died out. But yeah, sustainable, very sustainable. Passive gameplay is absolutely possible in this without having to worry about any bad water entering system or leaving a system. So these two were set up like that. The third one, I've completely diverted it away. In case I do need excess water, I can just open this one and set it to auto. If I set it to auto, it'll open up when contamination is 0, basically at this point, and it'll fill up the lower levels. But if I do open that up, it'll flood up my entire system out here. What I've done is, whatever systems I've built, I've made sure to place sluices all along the way so that the water gets accumulated and stored at every point. Like here, this is one point to store, this is one more point to store here, and then this is one more point to store, this is one more point to store. Here's one more part to store, storage, here's one more, and this entire thing is water, by the way. I've built double platforms on top of it after blowing it up a little bit deep, but there is a large amount of water here as well stored, and here also it's stored, and these are the flood pains, wherein similar to the flood, to the excess which I've created in the beginning here, this one, if any excess flood does happen at the bottommost level of the map, it just goes away directly from these edges. I don't even have to bother about it. Like here, it's going away. This I've kept as a flood plain. I don't really need the space, so I do have one zipline station here so that my beavers can come all the way here, do anything they need to, like build this sluice system out here. But yeah, even if it gets flooded, it's nothing of a loss for me here. Okay, so that's about the sluice systems which I've got. This is the main district, and initially I did go for the water wheels. But yeah, during the drought season and the bad water tide season, these water wheels tend to stop working because I close up the sluice over here. As soon as the sluice is closed, the water starts getting filled up here and it stops moving. Once it stops moving, this essentially becomes useless. And I do need to do that. It's important to do that because otherwise I won't have enough water for my crops to grow. The water will start draining out. If it starts draining out, there won't be enough water for the crops and trees and everything else. So in the primary district, I've also made a large forest area. The one thing which I really run low in this game is wood. One might think that wood is such a common resource, and since you ought to be producing a lot more of it, but I really do run low on logs in this game. So building does take quite some time. The thing about this game is, at least initially, you really cannot. Oh look, there's flooding happening already. Let me drain out somewhat of water. Yeah, this happens if I suddenly close a running stream, and we drain somewhat of water. Close these. Wait, is this open? No, that's on auto. That's closed. Ah. Is that open? Yeah, that's open. Flooding should disappear. That's auto closed. Okay, good. This is closed. Flooding is happening. Dies in 0.5 days. Hold on a second. Let me fast forward it. Oh, there you go. Okay. But let's close this. Okay. Should be good enough. Okay. Sometimes it does happen that way. Because for some reason, when I close this, the water still continues to flow here, and it still continues to go down here. And by the time it gets filled, I think this one, it doesn't fill up here, it fills up at the bottom first. So this one doesn't close automatically and keeps pushing in more and more water, which eventually leads to some flooding. It eventually gets dissipated within half a day or something, less than the time needed to destroy the wheat. Okay, so I was saying, initially when the game starts, the game really doesn't give you detonation and explosives and everything. That is something which you need to figure out in some time, and because of that you're forced to work with the flow of the land as to how the land is. Is it closed? What's flooding this? Let me go to 0.85. Hold on a second, let me take care of this first. .85 should be good. 0.85 depth. So if the water reaches the depth of 0.85, it should automatically close. That happening? Alright, good. I think that should be it. I don't think there should be any more flooding. There is a small flooding. But as and how they use the water, it'll just get used to it. Alright. Okay. So the game does force you to work with the terrain you're given with. For example, in this case, we start on a little cliff side. This being the major cliff part. Oh, I had to demolish a lot of cliff over here. This entire thing was very cliffy and up and up and up. It's a pain. It's a pain to build in such a cliffy area because you need space to build things. And you really... building things over cliffs kind of makes the space very ineffective. So I had to blow up a lot of section of this. But it was a large cliff out here. And then there's a small upward cliff here as well. So I initially built a forest area over here in this part of the section. A large forest area. I went for birch over here and then oak over here. One of the reasons... one of the initial few reasons why I really hated the badwater thing and went for this sluice thing immediately is because of the oak trees. These guys take around 30 days or almost a cycle to grow into full trees and give 8 wood. But if a bad water, even a small fraction of bad water enters the stream, and one of these smaller trees that's, let's say, 90% grown, takes in the bad water, it dies. It wastes a whole 29 days of effort. And that shit that shit is horrible because this takes a lot of time to grow. Oak is the best source of wood in this game. I think there should be more sources of wood, but right now the oak is the best source of wood in this game. So that's the reason I divided half of it into oak and half of it into birch, so that in case some bad water does seep in, I will still not have much of a loss with the birch. The birch will grow in 7 days, one log, which is very inefficient compared to the oak logs. But hey, you got to do what you got to do. Initially, I did not even know the sluices existed, so I had to allow the bad water to go, the drought to come and dry it up. And in these cases, the oaks were actually painful to manage, very painful. So I've kept this entire section as a forest area for the wood. And although I have kept this large section for wood, it is still never enough. Right now I have 3k, that's because I've been playing for some time without actually using much of the wood. But as of now, when the wood is in full use, there's hardly 100-200 wood left for the entire map, not just one district. This district has 1.1k wood, 9.2k food. Okay, so this is the initial forest area which I started. And I had houses here. I wasn't aware of the triple houses. Or rather, I was aware of the triple houses, but the thing about these houses is there's the lodge, which is these houses which I built here. There is a mini lodge, which is a single layer house like this, single file house. Then there's a double lodge, which is the same width of the simple lodge, but height, it's double. It's like the entrance to this building is one floor above, one block above. You can see here, yeah, you can see the entrance is one block above. So this one initially confused me a lot, and I realized that if I have to build the double lodges or the triple lodges, even the triple lodges are one whole floor above. So if I normally build it over here, the roads are also there here. They never connected it because it was one block above. So I had to have a path which is either one block above, or I had to have the houses which is one block below. So initially I went with the normal lodges, and then later on I went ahead, let me show you where I've done that. Did I do it here? Yeah, I think I did it here. So this is a triple lodge, and its entrance is right here in this pathway, which is covered with these power shafts and rubble platforms. Let's see if I can go there. Somehow close. Don't think I can squeeze through. I wish there was a FPV view in this, or I don't know if it's already there. Or let me show some other example. Yeah, so this is normally how I initially imagined these triple lodges or double lodges should be. They have to be built on the cliff sides, and you have to build roads such that the entrances coincide one floor above and accommodate for these lodges. But then I realized after learning about explosives, you can go ahead and just blow up the... here is one example which I can show you. I don't really need... Let's see, I don't really need these. Let's go... Yeah, so here what I've done is this is a triple lodge, but you can see the entrance is at the ground floor. So I just put in detonators below. Here blew up one slot down and then built up the lodges. That way they have one floor below the ground and one floor on the road level. The road level takes care of the entrance part. And these are Viking themed houses. This was created by using a roof that is 3x2 and this pattern. Where is it? Where do I find it? Decoration, I guess. Yeah. So I created the roof 3x2 pattern with a solid foundation on top, where more things can be built on top. And then I built the roof 1x2 on top of it. So it kind of gives a good Viking themed house, I guess. Is Viking themed? Yeah. And these are two houses, by the way. It may look like one. It's beautiful. It's aesthetically very pleasing. I like it. But it's one house and then one more house here on this side. So it's basically two houses in one. But it looks like a single house. Well, I'm okay with it. Okay, so I initially built all my houses here in this section. And I let it be that way. I could have upgraded this, but I really did not need any more beavers, especially since I started using bots. Oh, and bots are a game changer in this game. I again discovered bots very late in the game, like many other things. Initially, I was just with the beavers, producing enough food, enough water. That was the main goal of the initial game, having enough food, enough water, and especially since I didn't even understand sluice, so I had to produce not just the enough amount more than that, so that during the dry season or the bad tide season, they don't ever have to produce food, and the beavers can still have much more than enough. That's the reason I have so many storages as well in the primary district. You could do with just one storage if you have a constant source of incoming food or water, but here I went for three whole large tanks, which is a bit of an overkill. Not only three whole large tanks there, I've gone for smaller tanks here as well. These all were water, which I've later changed to different liquids for the needs of different beaver types over here. So initially I built this, and then obviously power generation was one thing which I really needed a lot. There are not many sources of power. Let me see. There is a water wheel which is here. Then there is a power wheel. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, this is a power wheel wherein beavers just run inside and generate power. And then there's the windmill. That's it. There are only three sources of power. There is a small windmill, large windmill. This is essentially just one type of power, windmill, the power wheel, and the water wheel. Now the water wheel is good, very good in fact, because it provides you a constant source of power if there is a river that's constantly flowing. But in like right now I'm simulating a drought environment when I've closed this sluice, or this is a passive environment as I like to call it. I can just leave it like this for hours on end without ever having to worry. Even if the drought season comes and goes, I will still have enough water in my reservoirs, natural reservoirs, to supply my crops and trees. Or even if the bad water tide does come in, the bad water just drains away. Oh yeah. Oh, look at this. The excess is working as expected. The excess is flowing away from here into here, similarly from here into here, and all the excess just goes away over there. Never have to worry about water. For now, let me start running this, because this is an active gameplay what I'm doing right now. And I want to generate that power. That power is essentially important for me to manage my battery storage capacity, and also consequently the entire base. Because of the limited number of power sources in this game, as of now, you really have to use up everything. The game forces you to use up all the sources of power which you can find. You have free beavers, go ahead with the power wheel. You have water flowing, go ahead with the water wheel. Wherever you have space, go ahead with the windmills. So for my initial stages of power, I had developed some amount of power here. Yeah, these were all smaller windmills, and these batteries were there. This was the initial 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This was my initial battery storage. Everything else is an expansion in time. And there was some basic level windmills here. Like this one, I still have to upgrade this one as well, but I'll keep it. I don't really need so much upgrade as of now. But yeah, this was the entire basic setup, and this used to power all these lumber mills, gear workshops, paper mills. I had one paper mill. I realized paper mill was not so important initially, until I came across the bots, and then this shit became very important for me because of the punch cards. The punch cards are like a bot booster. No, this is, let's see, this one is a normal beaver, this one is a bot beaver. It basic needs is a biofuel, and for boost there's a catalyst and punch cards. For the punch cards I really needed the paper. Initially I did not need it though, because the beavers don't really need paper for a lot except for the windmills, and a single factory was more than enough to produce a large amount of windmills. The game really doesn't tell you how much you need to build in order to ensure efficiency and ensure proper growth. That's one thing which I loved about this game, is it's a challenge. It's a hell lot of challenge to figure out how much you really need versus how much you need to produce versus how much you're actually using. For example, if for the beavers, the standard beavers, they have food, water requirements. And one other thing is that if they travel a long distance, let's say from this part of the district to, let's see, one red part, yeah, this red part indicates that this connection is a little far away from the center of the district. and I think that means that the beavers have to travel a lot, I guess. And so essentially, if they do travel so much, they tend to get hungry and thirsty. And if they do not get water or food somewhere around here, they will start moving slow. Let's see if I can find some beavers who are moving like that. And that is one really annoying thing, because that if they do not get enough water and food, they move very slowly. And the job that could have taken, let's say, 1 hour of time is now taking 2 hours or 3 hours. That was a horrible shit about the standard beavers. But when the timberbots started replacing them, my god, this was a huge increase. They had 170% increase in working speed and 80% increase in movement speed, and this was constant. I think okay, this is with the catalyst and punch card. Without that, I think it was 150 and 70, I guess. Let's see if I can find a bot that does not have that. Okay, all of them do have, I think. Or let me go to a district that has bots, but... Ah, there you go. Oh, you have it. Huh. Okay. +1, +1. Oh wait, I don't think they have it. 170 and 80. Let me go to a district that has the timberbots. Let's see. Yeah, this district has a lot of timberbots. +1, +1. Yeah, I think this is with the punch cards and catalyst boosters. 170, 80. And 170, 80. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's with the catalyst and boosters. Okay. So, yeah, these beaver bots were amazing. And again, like the rest of the game, I discovered it very, very late in the game. And by the time I discovered it, it was almost... yeah, I'd finished up at least 3 or 4 districts by then, which took a very long time. And as soon as the beaver bots came in, my progress skyrocketed. You see this entire district out here, which I've named Smart Industry, this entire district, this was a cliffy area as well. A large cliffy area rather, because there's a bad water source out here, which I've filled up with a bad water rig right now. But this was wholly a cliff. Similarly, this area was a cliff, this area was a cliff, there was a small island over here. Excuse me. There was a small island over here. With the coming of beaver bots, I could just terraform the landscape so easily and so fast. The terrabots didn't get tired, unlike the beavers, normal beavers who get very tired after long distance and then they don't feel thirsty. And their only requirement is biofuel. And biofuel is so cheap to produce. Their basic need is a biofuel. The boosts are catalyst and punch card. Even catalyst is so easy to produce. The biofuel just requires 2 potatoes and 2 water. Water is something which normal viewers already use. And potato is something which they don't use normally, but if you cook them, they will use. But even if you cook them, it still takes you need to produce a large amount of potatoes to feed even a single district of beavers. Potatoes and carrots are, as I said, an okay source of food, but not the best source of food for continuous development or continuous growth. So wheat is one food that is good for continuous development and growth, because you tend to produce excess of it. You produce excess wheat, you produce excess wheat flour, and then you produce excess bread. No matter how many bread storages you have, you will fill it up very quickly for a very small patch of wheat. This is all this bread which I have here. 1, 2, 3. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 4th bread. 5th, I think 5th is here. 5th, 6th. So 6 bread warehouses, all with this single patch of wheat. And this patch never gets, I mean, it does get, but very slowly compared to the other parts. And this one is completely dried out, never getting replaced for some reason. I think it's not able to reach here with the wooden stairs. I don't know why it's not reaching here as well, because there is a path here and there's nothing blocking it. But wait, let's see the reach. Oh yeah, the efficient farmhouse reaches only till here, so I think that's the reason it's not reaching there and connecting. But I think even without this whole section, with just one block, you can produce enough bread to feed the whole I think all the districts basically. But the same cannot be said for carrots and potatoes. I had a large carrot farm out here, like I said in the beginning, all the way from here till here. And I had two efficient farmhouses gathering the carrots all the time. And it was never enough, not even for two districts. And those districts were small, by the way. Maybe 30, 40 citizens in that district. So yeah, on the other hand, potatoes raw can be served as an excellent biofuel source. They can just be used with water to produce 30 amount of biofuel. Now there are other options as well to produce biofuel like carrots and spadderdock as well. I didn't go for carrots because wait, let me show you. Where is science? Yeah, here, no, not here. Refinery here. 2 carrots, 2 water gives 5 fuel. So carrots are useless even over there. Then 2 potato, 2 water gives 30 biofuel, which is the highest amount of biofuel that can be produced. And then 2 spadderdocks and 2 water can be produced 25 fuel. But I never went for water-based crops on this, mainly because I wanted to use the waterways either for power generation, like in case of here, wherein I haven't blown up the bits, or most of my other sources of water are just act like natural reservoirs, so that there's always enough water in the system to feed the crops and never to run out, even during a dry season. Like I said before, even in 2 dry seasons, I think I can easily survive. Maybe some of the crops at the edges will die out, but I think most of the one which have deep water enough will survive through the dry season. And trees, obviously, they have a larger drought resistance. Like this one has 11 days drought resistance, and oak has 15 days drought resistance. So they can all resist till the water comes back. At least for one cycle, there is no need to worry at all in this standard difficulty. For one cycle, which is, I think the maximum drought I've seen is 9 days in this game as of now. And for 9 days, this is far more than enough. Not even the crops at the edges will run out of the water needed for them to grow. So it's a continuous growth cycle for me, unlike my initial part of the game wherein I just allow the water to go through, and then all the water drained out. So I had no water during the dry season. I had no good water during the bad water season. Unlike those seasons, right now there's good amount of water, and this upward reservoir, this one also acts as a natural reservoir, continuously holding some excess amount of water. So not only do these act as reservoirs, this one acts as a reservoir, even this one acts as a reservoir. There is a major upstream reservoir as well, this one, and this one is natural. This was naturally built to, I think this is 2 blocks deep. Yeah, 2 blocks deep. So I think this is a very important part of the game, having natural reservoirs. I think that's the reason this one is a beginner friendly map, because you can easily just contain the waters. You don't have to go for building up natural reservoirs. Probably in more challenging maps, I may need to go to build in large volumes of reservoirs on my end. Having said that, this all was not so deep. I bombarded these and made them so deep so that they can hold more water. So that's the thing. These waterways are going to be used either as a reservoir or as a source of power for the water wheel during the active seasons. Let me see if I can build a cat. Oh yeah, I can build a cattle here. So technically, even in these deep waters, I can go ahead and put in some stairwells down, put an aquatic farmhouse nearby. I think I do have one aquatic farmhouse somewhere. Nope. I've destroyed it. I don't have any aquatic farmhouses anywhere. But yeah, I never really had the need to develop the spadderdock and cattle. Spadderdock can be used as a biofuel, but cattle, I think it can be cooked. It can be cooked. Let's see, food grill. Yeah, yeah, that one can be cooked with 0.1 logs to give 3. Okay, nice. Spadderdock actually, not cattail. I wonder what is the use of a cattail then. What is the use of a cattail? Let's see. Science. No, it's still Spadderdock. What the hell is the use of a cattail? Really, what the hell is the use of a cattail? Nothing here too. You can make cattail flour. Oh, okay, you can make cattail flour. which I think you can use in the bakery to produce cattail crackers. Interesting. Maybe these are good sources of food. I haven't tried this yet. I never really needed to try it because bread is such a good source of food here. With just a small patch of wheat farm, you can produce enough bread for the whole game. So I never really went for that. There was no need for me to go for that. Also, I wanted to use the waterways for something else like power and storage. Although I could have used even the ones which are for storage as a good source of water for growing the spaddocks and cattails. But yeah, that's about that part. And then so this is the first district which I told. Then this is the second district which I made. I called initially I wanted it to be a forest district. That was the main aim because I was really running low on wood even at that time. Although I had this large section of a forest, but eventually I decided to just settle down for maple tree setups over here. Now, in the initial district, I went expanded all the way here till it became red, and here I have the pine trees. I don't think there's anyone. There is, yeah. There are 2 tapper shacks. Again, this is excessive. With just 1 tapper shack, you can harvest more than enough of the pine resin which you'll ever need. I don't know why my man is chilling despite the fact that there is pine sap over here. I don't know why he's chilling. Okay, chill my friend. And then the forest. This one is my pine sap farm which I've kept over here. And then in the second district I went for a maple syrup farm. This farm was much larger. It went all the way down till here. But then I realized you don't really need so much. The thing about this game is I think there is a way to calculate how much you need and grow how much you need, but it's not easy, and I'm too lazy to go ahead and do the exact calculation how much you need. So I always go for producing excess. Now this one gives 3 maple syrup in 12 days. But then I also, if I'm producing 3 maple syrup for 12, I also need to calculate how much is the output, how much am I using the maple syrup. Maple syrup is only used for the catalyst, I think, as of now. Let's see where it is. Yeah, 1 maple syrup and 1 extract produces 3 catalyst. So if I'm going to say, and this takes 1.5 hours, but this takes around 12 days to produce 3. So I have to sit and do the calculation basically. How much does it produce for 1 day? 3 divided by 12? So that's around 0.2 it produces in 1 day. And then again I have to do the calculation for 1 hour. Because this one is using it in 1.5 hours. So I have to do it in 1.5 hours. Yeah, so the calculations are a bit tough in this. And that is something which makes the game amazing as well. It's challenging. It's not easy to figure it out how much you need. So instead of doing all that stuff, what I simply did is go for an excess option. Produce a large farm of maple trees, keep gathering enough syrup, and if I am running short on maple syrup, I can always see my resources here. If I'm going to be running short on maple syrup, go ahead and add 1 more farm. I've done that a couple of times. I'll show you. So that's how I've played this game basically. Always go for the excess option, way too much option. But that also is a learning curve in this game because this game can really you can go on a downward spiral really quickly, really fast if you are not producing enough, especially when you build enough houses. One of the first mistakes I did in my first run was I built a large chunk of houses thinking it's a good place to build, but as soon as you build so many houses, so many beavers also start getting produced. And if so many beavers start getting produced, they'll get assigned to different tasks which you have in your district. And if you do not have enough food to feed them, they will slowly start dying out. In my first run, that is what happened. The farmers died out in the first. And because I think farmers died out in the first or something, I'm not sure. But there were no farmers left. There were some folks in other buildings like the water wheel and other stuff. But really, I needed food. And there were no farmers. And by the time I realized that and got my farmers to work, food ran out really quickly. And I died out. That's my first run. This on the other hand is my second run. And this one is an amazing run, honestly. That's the reason I wanted to showcase this base. Okay, so coming to the second district. This one was initially for gathering wood. All this was forest. But then I realized I don't need so much wood later on in the middle of the game. because I wasn't expanding as quickly as I should have. This game I've played for 81 cycles. I'm sure whatever I've built can be finished up in, let's say, 40 cycles, I guess, if you're effective. But yeah, it's my first run, so I'm figuring out stuff. For example, sluices as well, I just figured out in the mid game, and bots I figured out late in the game. So this was the second district. This was initially all trees to cut down and extract, but then later I changed it to carrot farms. This was entirety a carrot farm. Here also was a carrot farm. I hadn't expanded into this area, and again I have to build with the terrain. It's not like I can just go ahead bombard the terrain and equalize the ground, make them one level. So I had to work with the terrain I was given, because to make those explosives you need to start extracting bad water, which I never did right in the beginning. Bad water is something which I started extracting mid to late game. I could have actually extracted bad water right in the beginning of the game when there were bad water tides and I had no sluices to cover it. So I could have just built a few bad water pumps, extracted the bad water and kept it, and maybe researched the explosives. I think to produce the explosives, what do you need? Is it science? Let's see. Landscaping, yes. In landscaping, you needed to unlock the explosive factory. You needed to have 150 HP worth of power. I'm assuming that's horsepower. And you needed bad water, yes. So I did not realize this in the beginning. I was slowly unlocking it from the left side, little by little, one by one, as in how I was researching it. And sluices is something that's here. So that's the reason I discovered it late there. And even later I discovered the explosive factory. And even later I discovered triple dynamite, tunnels, dirt excavators, terrain blocks. Also, I could have researched any of these in the beginning itself. But I kind of went from left to right, and that's how I kind of started utilizing stuff. Except for the zip line. Zip lines I didn't bother using even till the end of the game. Although it is actually one of the best sources of traversal. It is really not so good for building though, because it kind of, zip lines kind of obstruct building anything over there. If there are low level buildings with 1 or 2 blocks, or maybe even up to 4, I think. This is 1, 2, maybe 2 more blocks it could build, but beyond that I think most of the buildings, like these windmills, definitely will not be built when there is a zipline going through it, because these are taller than 4 blocks. So ziplines kind of tend to prevent that. And with the terrain that is usually uneven, it becomes even more difficult to manage ziplines. So I thought, let's hold up on ziplines initially. Okay, so initially this was all a carrot farm, which was never really enough. I kept on producing carrots, but was never enough. Then I expanded over here into this area, and this is where I started learning and using wheat. And wheat has been a game changer for me, honestly. As soon as wheat started coming in, carrots became obsolete. Even berry bushes became obsolete. Berry bushes are a better option than carrots, I think, because I at least get a better yield out of the berry bushes than the carrots or even potatoes for that matter. But then when you come to wheat, this one is too good, excellent. With a single wheat farm, I was able to sustain the whole map, not just. I think I have only 2 wheat farms. There's 1 wheat farm here, and then there's 1 more wheat farm here. I don't have wheat farms anywhere else. Oh no, there's 1 more third one here. I think this one, yeah, this one also I built it just so I can have a surplus of bread always, and with just a small amount of wheat like this one here, and this I really like this wheat farm over here because it's built naturally with the terrain, so it kind of adds a lot of depth to it, a lot of detail to it, makes it look aesthetically pleasing in my eye. Suppose I had used explosive and made it all single level, it wouldn't look as good as this. I kind of like this part of the wheat farm. Initially I had just 1 storage. I had storages over here in this side of the map so that they can use all the space over here to produce the wheat, store it up in this section of the map. However, I realized that even with lesser and lesser sections of wheat, the amount of wheat produced was still so much more. So I built 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 storages out here. And then I built bakeries, 3, 4 bakeries, yeah, 3 grist mills, 2 efficient farmers were there right from the beginning. Yeah, and everything else I built by replacing the wheat farms over here. But still with that replacing so much wheat farm also, I'm still producing way too much wheat. Excess amount of wheat. I don't think I'll ever need wheat again in this game. Maybe even if I expand a district or two more, maybe with 20 more citizens, 40, 50 citizens plus, I will still never run out of food, because that's the amount of wheat that's getting produced, and that's the amount of wheat flour and bread that's getting produced consequently. And as soon as I establish a district, one thing which I do is I first make sure I create a large water tank, and then one warehouse for the food. Initially, this was just carrots, and then after the wheat farm, it became wheat. I think here. No, here the bread. Here I kept the bread. This one I kept as potatoes, so that whatever potato they harvest here can be used here. Actually, I don't really need so much potatoes at all. Potatoes as well. Listen, like how wheat is for the beavers, produces a shit ton of wheat, and which can be utilized by the beavers for a very very long time. Potatoes is like that for the beaver bots. With a small potato farm, you can produce enough biofuel to. I have how many? 311 pots. So this is the amount of potatoes I produce. The potato storage is full. Not full just here, full everywhere, I think. Let's see here. Here also almost full. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. And then here too. This one is also full. I think I have. So I produce a shit ton of potatoes out here. This potatoes I started producing after I discovered beaver bots late in the game. The reason is I didn't want to have less amount of potatoes ever, so I never run out of biofuel. That's the reason I turned this all from a carrot farm to a potato farm, and ever since carrots have gone to zero. Initially, carrots were in the primary district, then they were also in the secondary district all over here. No, actually, this was forests, and then it became a carrot farm. And then after beaver bots, it became a potato farm. Now it's a potato farm, which is producing excess amount of potatoes, which I really did not need. I could utilize this space for something better, but hey, it's established, it's set. I don't want to change that. No point in changing that. And then I built the woodwork shops, the gear shops, the lumber mills out here, so that we can produce the required amount of gears and planks and everything. Initially, that was not much of a requirement, but later when I moved into the beaver bot stage, I realized the beaver bots required a shit ton of wood to be produced. That's when I started running low on wood. In the initial game, I was running low because I was expanding and building a lot of stuff. Then in the middle game, there was not so much to build, as much to convert and keep, like, for example, gears, planks, and all. But later in the game, when I started using bots, started producing bots, that's when the requirement for wood shot up like crazy. I'll explain this district as well. Let me finish district 2 first. So that was district 2, which I named as New Farm, because this was initially a forest but then turned into a farm, and it's been the wheat basket of the entire hub. This one also. First I built this much. Then I realized this is excessive. Then I came here, replaced the potato farm, and built this much wheat, which again I realized is excessive. So I went ahead and built one more wheat farm here by placing artificial blocks over here. This one, yeah, this one is after this it was just overkill. Building any more wheat farms was just over the overkill. So this I renamed to New Farm. This is the second district, District 1, District 2. And yeah, of course, later on I started adding beaver bots to the main workplace and the district crossing. Oh look, bad tide approaching. Never have to worry about that. But however, let me stop this loose, because if bad water is approaching, good water will not approach, and good water does not approach means it's essentially a drought season for me. Let's see, hopefully this doesn't flood anything. 3.85, right? Close. Okay. Hey, that started flooding it. Yeah, I don't know, for some reason it happens all the time. I think these two ones, they never really reach the level, because of which it just Let's it done. Okay. I have to just do it 1 or 2 times like this. If I'm constantly keeping it closed, it's not a problem at all. But who's gonna keep it constantly closed? Unless I'm playing a passive gameplay wherein I just leave the game running for them to finish building large projects like my massive gravity battery farm. Let me flush out a little more water. Is it open? Yeah, I need to speed up. Holy shit. I need to speed that up. I need to close this. And I need... Is this closed? Yes, that's also closed. Ah, okay, there you go. Let me... Yeah, the frames drop rapidly when I play it on high speed. Initially, I think it was 144 or something. I don't really know, but it really wasn't 30. Oh no, no, no. Close this before this dries out. And then open this. Keep it on auto. And change the game setting speed. Okay. Alright. Good enough. Now that should sustain itself. This is closed. Eventually, before the bad tide starts, this one will get filled. No need to worry about that. And I'll show you how the bad tide works. There'll be a bad tide that approaches here. Just flows down here. There'll be a bad tide that approaches here. It'll go here. This one is set to allow only non-contaminated water, so it won't allow the bad tide here. This one is also set to allow non-contaminated water, so it won't allow here. This one is set to allow contaminated water. So eventually all the bad tide water will just flow here. Okay. This is day 11. Okay. Actually, I still don't know how many days are there in a cycle. I'm assuming 30 days. Temperate weather. Okay. Did I explain the second district? Yeah, and then I built up the different things to build. I was explaining about the bots. So after discovering the bots late in the game, what I did is, because the bots don't get tired and the bots move extremely fast, I went and assigned the bots in my main districts as builders, first thing. That is basically as workers in the main district building, and as the border crossing, which is district crossing workers, so that the bots can immediately transfer the items. Excuse me. So yeah, that's the reason I've kept bots as the workers in the main building and in the district crossing. District crossing so that they can move quickly and transport the goods, and building so that they can go build anything anywhere at a quick pace. Initially, when I used to use normal builders, like these guys, unemployed guys, shit, AI has taken over the job. Look at this. This is what I mean. These guys now are tired, hungry. They have -10, -10. What is this called again? Well-being. -10 well-being, because of which their movement speed is also less. Their work is also less, and I think in some cases, like unwell or something, they refuse to work outright. These are the problems of normal beavers. But with the bot, there is no such problem. The bots will go as far as you want in a district without getting tired, without having to drink anything. And that makes the bots so much better at building. And they can also, even if the bad tide does approach and really you need to close up some hole that's left in the map, you can just go ahead and call in for these beaver bots to go finish building up the thing in the bad waters. I don't think they get infected with bad water at all. These guys, on the other hand, they'll fall unwell and they'll refuse to work, which is horrible. I do not like that. Beaver bots are essentially the better versions of them. Kind of reminds me of the modern world dystopia as well, wherein AI is replacing quite a few of the jobs. Similarly here, the beaver bots are replacing the jobs of the beavers. And from my point of view, who's managing the city and everything, the beaver bots, I would prefer the beaver bots over the normal beavers any day, anytime. But I have not really removed anyone yet. I haven't removed the normal beavers as well, except in one district, which I'll explain. But most of the districts do have normal beavers as well. Because I really haven't calculated how many beaver bots I need to produce versus how many I already have. That's something which I need to sit and calculate, and if I do the calculation right, I can make sure I produce enough. And there is no easy way to self-sustain them. I do not know how many beaver bots factories do you need in a particular district to ensure self-sufficiency for the volume of that district. Like each district has a different amount of requirements. For example, the primary district has a different amount of tasks. Like there's foresters, there's farmers. Oh shit, that's flooded. What is flooding it? That is closed. That should be closed. Open this. And that will die in 0.4 days if not cleared. Hold on a second, let me clear this. Huh. Why is it not getting closed? Okay. Close. Put it to auto. Okay. It doesn't flood, or if it does, it gets taken care of quickly. Okay. So yeah, there is no really. I haven't calculated how much I need because these take like 36 hours with all the components. Supposedly, you have all the components. It takes 36 hours to produce one beaver bot, and these beaver bots, I have not calculated how much time they stay alive. It is several hours. That is what I can say. Several hours. So they are excellent in that aspect. So if I can manage the number of production needed, I can have a bot similar in every district and make the district self-sufficient, uh, so that they produce enough bots for the amount of bots that are needed for that district. The point with normal beavers, the normal beavers are better in when it comes to ensuring that there are enough workers. The normal beavers are 100 times better than the beaver bots because they will reproduce as long as there is space for them to reproduce. That is, as long as they have houses. If they have houses, they will continuously reproduce. If they have more houses, they'll continuously produce more. If they have less, they will stop producing as much. They'll just produce as much as the houses. So in that aspect, that is very well automated. The normal beavers are better in that aspect, but the beaver bots are horrible in that aspect. There is a large calculation needed to be done to know how many beaver bots are actually needed in each district, because the variable number of tasks that are there in a district. For example, the primary district has a large number of tasks like wood cutting, farming, the crossings, the lumber mills, gear mills, paper farm. What else do I have? Yeah, these refineries, bakeries, crystals. Yeah, these are several of the jobs available here. Whereas there's one more district here called the forest district, the tree district. Here there is only one purpose: cut trees. Wait a second. Yeah, okay, cut trees. And so here there's not much of a task here. So I guess even one assembler would be overkill over here. They'll produce way too much bots over here for the amount of needed. So it really is a very tricky calculation to be done. It is possible, but it'll take time. It'll take effort to know that, and I'm too lazy to sit and calculate how much is needed. So instead, what I did was I cancelled out the bot assemblers everywhere else, and in only one district, which is my smart city district, which is a bot only district. There are no normal beavers here, no children here. It's all bots. This is where I produce them. I have three bot assemblers out here. So this one does produce an excess amount of beaver bots, and I simply go ahead and migrate it based on the figures which I've set. For example, let's say the tree, I usually keep around 10 beaver bots. And as soon as I see the number of beaver bots getting less in the tree district, I just migrate from the smart industry. For the smart industry, I think only 150 or 130 are needed. I think I've paused some of these. Yeah, much lesser than that. So around 100 of what I need here, but I'm producing 173. And the reason I'm keeping it 173 is because these bots, if they break down, they instantly break down, right? And they instantly get produced as well, which is good. But you tend to lose a large volume of bots in an instant, because you're producing 3 at one given time. So you're losing also 3 at one given time. So having an excess of beaver bots is essential to make sure you have a big workforce. If I did try initially to keep only one bot assembler and try to sustain it in all the districts, but while I was able to manage sending it to other districts, eventually at one point several bots broke down here, and the amount of bots left in the system were hardly a few. Most of the system stopped working completely. So yeah, the beaver bots tend to break down, and they break down depending on how many you're producing, and very quickly, within a couple of hours, several will be broken down. That's the reason you need to have a lot of excess of this. And let's see, labor's fruit, I have 40. Yes, 40 is the amount. 5-ish, 10, 10, 20, 25, 35, and 40. Yeah, that's correct. Primo TP should have 50. Metal Alpha should have 10, 20, 25. Actually, no, 25. You need only 25. New farm should also have 10, 15, yeah, 20. And that's how I'm managing it right now. I'm sure there are better ways to automate this. If I can know how much is the demand in a particular district, I can also accordingly create the bot assemblers. And that is something which I have to sit and calculate. 36 hours, how many bots are using what is the durability of a bot. Okay, so that's district 2. Then immediately after this district, I decided to occupy this island. I thought let's keep this in the same district, but I realized at that point that these guys get tired very soon. The normal beavers, they get tired very soon. They are not able to build even a single dam without getting tired. These dams which are there here, these took so long to build, because by the time they reached from here till here, they are thirsty, and once they are thirsty, they slow down. By the time they reach from there to there, they're thirsty. By the time once they're thirsty, they slow down. So the process becomes very cumbersome and time-consuming with the normal beavers. But on the other hand, the beaver bots, no matter how far I go, for example, this drain which I've built was with the beaver bots, and they finished it within a matter of minutes, faster than building this triple floodgates which I have over here. These one took a phenomenally large time compared to these floodgates which were built by the beaver bots. So there's a phenomenal difference in using the beaver bots compared to the normal beavers. So I went ahead and built the third district over here. This was mainly for the trees. I was starting to running low on wood again. So I thought let's have an excess amount of wood. I don't think I was actually running low on wood. I was just preparing in advance for the future. For any future project, I want to ensure that I always have enough wood. So I went ahead and created this district that supplies just wood. There's nothing else in this district. Just one forester and 4 woodcutters to keep cutting the wood. And this one is already filled with water, so no need to worry. This one is filled with water, natural reservoirs, all working hunky-dory, and this supplies wood. And I think that's how I've kept the distribution. No, import. Okay, so the distribution, the way I have kept it right now in this world, is that I set the settings. So the outer districts, like this one, I always set it to import what is needed. Okay, not this one, this one. I always set it to import what is needed. So if I have a storage in here, let's say I have a catalyst storage, it will only import catalyst. If I don't have a catalyst storage, it will never import catalyst into this district. That's what it means by import only if needed. Import all if needed. So I keep it there. I don't go to specifically manage what is needed, what is not needed, mainly because I'm too lazy. And it takes a shit ton of time and effort to specifically tell what is needed, what is not needed. Instead, I can just automate it with the help of storages. And the way I build district is, initially I force my bots to build all the buildings in that district. At least not all, but the buildings which are needed in the beginning, like basic food or water, and then basic stuff, which will take time if I first build a district center and then build a district. Instead, I go ahead with the basic stuff and keep it so that the beavers never die out in those districts, and they always have a storage to import all if needed. And then for the primary districts, I always set it to import everything so that all the storages which are there in those districts get filled properly, and there's never a less or shortage of anything. So that's the fourth district which I built, the forest district. Then after that, I built this one district which I called Metal Alpha initially, because there was here there was a ruin, a metal ruin, and this was the first place. I think this was the third district. This one was the fourth probably, but yeah, who cares? It's one or two up and down. So there was a large metal ruin here, and this was the first district where I started harnessing the power of metal. Again, this took a long time before I really discovered it and started using metal. And then as soon as I figured that out, I realized I needed a lot of power as well, because this takes 200 horsepower. This one, it takes 50, I think. Yeah, 50 horsepower. The gears take 120 horsepower, and then this one takes 200. So I really started needing more and more power. The water wheels were not going to cut it, and the small amount of windmills I had here was definitely not going to cut it. So I built a large section of windmills over here, which are still there. The old windmills. I should change this. I should actually go ahead and destroy these and change this immediately, because they are producing half the power, less than half the power of what the original is, the main windmills are producing. I should change that. I should destroy it and change it. So I built up more windmills over here, built up more over here, and then built up over here as well. And then I realized no matter how much I'm building, I need to also have a large amount of storage. So I this one was already built, but then I went ahead and built on top of the houses. Now, granted, at the time I didn't really understand how these gravity batteries work. Here's what you can do when you invent your own laws of physics. But yeah, I never understood. So the way these gravity battery works is, as long as there's good enough space from this container in the gravity battery, basically the point to which this can drop, that much is the storage. So in this case, there is a power shaft over here, so it can go one level lower, so it can store only 2000 hph. That is horsepower per hour, I think. Hour is definite, horsepower I don't know. So then I realized you just need to ensure that the container of these gravity batteries goes as low as possible. So I went ahead, built some batteries out here, and this point as well I discovered very late in the game. I'll show you how this works is. So now it's 2000 horsepower per hour. So, and there is a pathway below it. Apparently these paths also act as a block. So if there was no pathway, this would have stored 4000 horsepower, but there is a pathway here. So what I did is first created the batteries, then set up dynamites all across between the spaces of the batteries. Now, once the batteries are built, they don't need to be accessed anymore by the beavers. So essentially they can stay there inaccessible forever, but they will continue to store the massive amounts of power. Now, if I blow this triple dynamite up, let me show you in a clearer view. So detonate. Yeah, so now it was 2000. Now it went to 10,000. So basically it has a larger drop for the container, and consequently it stores a larger amount of horsepower per hour. So this I discovered very late in the game, by the way. Till this point I was actually storing only 2000 horsepower in almost all of my batteries. Very less amount of power storage. Then I discovered that you can just blow the ground below it, and you don't really need to access the batteries anymore later in the game. So I went ahead and dynamited everything and created a large hole in front, a gap in front of the batteries, and consequently they have been storing a large volume of power. Now I never run out of power. Even if the windmills have stopped producing power, there is so much power in the gravity batteries that they will continuously power the system at least for, I think, several days on end. They can power the systems. Okay, bad tide cycle is about to begin. Let me show you that later in some time. But yeah, these batteries now can say the windmills are not working now. The water wheel is not working, and it's nighttime, so the power wheel is not working as well. There is zero power supply. Wait, I can also click on the power shaft. See, there is a zero power supply, but there is 11,160 horsepower demand. That's where these batteries outshine everything, especially the batteries with a large hole in front of them. Because of this, the batteries have stored so much power that they'll essentially use this power for a very long time, at least for a few days. I haven't actually tested how many days, but it's a very large volume of days. Like I said, in this game, it's better to be excess than to be less. So I went ahead and built a large section. I dynamited this all, built a large gravity battery section, all 10,000 mAh over here. Except for one, which I don't know why I haven't detonated yet. Yeah, that should be 10,000 mAh as well. So now that stores a large amount of water, and once the windmills start running, they will recharge the battery and essentially infinite power. At least for the system which I have right now, it's infinite power. Possibly if I build up more systems and more things, more power hungry buildings, I may need to build more gravity batteries. But I think I've got a excess amount. Let me see, there's one large battery farm here with a large windmill farm here. Batteries here as well. Batteries on top of these houses, which is the most inefficient form of the batteries. If I could have kept it horizontal, probably this would have gone down. And then there's some amount of windmills here. There is small sections of batteries here. And then this is my largest battery farm ever. This one stores 10,000, 14,000, yeah. 14,000 mAh. This one is a 3 block deep pit below it. 3 block deep water pit. So even water, if its water is there, it doesn't count as a block. It can go inside the water. So it adds up to the storage potential, and it gives 14,000 horsepower per hour here. Okay, let me show you the bat tide. Yeah, so the bat tide system, right now there's just bat tide water just coming, and because these filters are set to only allow good water, all the bad water just flows down into the bad water drain. No need to worry about any contamination presence. This one, oh shit, this one is overflooded. What's happening here? Close above contamination 1%. Yeah, this should be open. Ah, damn, this will create a bit of a bad tide out here. Ah, why is it flooded? This should not ideally be flooding, because this is a very deep pit, deep enough pit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I think I get it. It was already flooded, because of which it just okay, I see. I think I have to change this part of the system. Ah, well, who cares? Even if this remains closed forever, I'll always have enough water to come through here from this reservoir and from this good water to maintain my systems. I don't really need this section. I could probably need it for this part of the waterway when there are some trees that require it. But this section, majority of the section is okay. I'll have to recheck this part. Interesting. Now it's contaminated. It'll take a large time for me to just reverse the flow. I'll have to break this and rebuild this and close this part and allow only this part. Yeah, it's not supposed to get flooded during bad tide, but I think because it was already flooded, it kind of messed it up. That's interesting to know, though. Interesting to know. Let's see what happens here. I don't really need this. I could keep it. This one is already filled to the brim. Don't really need it. Okay. What was I saying? Yeah. So this was the third or the fourth district. I have no clue. But yeah, this district was mainly for metallurgy. Harvested the metal here. Produced the power here. Sorry, the metal blocks here. And this was the initial metal for me that I really desperately needed in the beginning. I used that metal to produce many of the things that really needed metal. I think even this water storage needs metal. Yes, the storage, large pile, large warehouse. Yeah, the large tanks also need a lot of metal. So I think this was the third district before the forest district, because I kind of started producing water tanks early in the game, large water tanks. So I started probably harvesting metal much earlier than what I initially assessed. Okay, so that's where I started gathering metal, and then right here where you can see uh, the bad water tanks, there was a bad water source out here which I built about bad water ring on top, and it was a cliffy thing. It went all the way down here and then went all the way up and down here. This all was used to be filled with bad water. I had a few bad water rigs out here, bad water pumps I mean, which used to pump out the bad water. So I started pumping out those bad water, and that's when I started using explosives. And I built a bunch of explosive factories out here. First, this was also a cliffy area. I had initially built the factories on top over there, but then with the invention of factories, I went and flattened out this entire land, except for the windmill part. This I'm too lazy to change it as well. So, and then I built up the factories on the flatted land, and that's where I started producing the explosives. Explosives, this was a game changer at this point of the game. Because once I started using explosives, I could flatten out the land and build stuff around it. For example, this bad water rig, I could not have built any of these stuff around it because it was very cliffy out here, very uneven 3 3 4 4 blocks tall cliffs, like how this is, and or how this is. There were a lot of cliffs over here. The smart city would never have been built if I did not have figured out the although I could have actually figured out explosives much earlier in the game, but as I said, this is just my second run. Did not really know what to do, and I was figuring out things at a very slow pace. So eventually I figured out explosives. Now explosives are filled everywhere, so I don't have a really strong what do you say, negative demand. I have a positive demand of explosives. Never have to worry about explosives anywhere. Okay, so once I started building explosives, I first flattened out this part, and this again took a lot of time because that time I still had normal beavers, and these beavers, by the time they reach here, they get tired. In fact, there's one more district out here. This I call Metal and Earth district. This is the district that harvests dirt for me and the metal as well, at least initially. And look at this, these beavers get damn tired by the time they reach this district because it's a bit far from the center of the district. It's a red pathway, which basically tells me that it's inefficient and beavers have to travel a lot. Now since beavers have to travel a lot, they get tired as soon as they reach the bridge here and go 1 or 2 steps up. They get very tired and hungry and thirsty, so their speed slows down. From here to here, there is a big distance because they take as much time from here to here as from here to reaching the district center because of the food and water requirement. That's one thing which I hate about the beavers. Standard ones is they have a lot of requirements, and you could make them very effective as well, maybe as effective as the standard with all the decorations and well-being and everything, but you have to build a shit ton of these, and it's like very limited. For a very limited time they'll be well off, and after that again they'll go back to normal. Like in my district here, yeah, this is the fruit labor district. This is the last district which I built, and in this district pots work, whereas beavers, the only only job of the beavers here is to run on mills. Yeah, and they have all the facilities: dancing hall, detailer, carousel, fountain of joy, mud pit, agora, contemplation spots, everything. They have even Lido. Why is this building saying it needs more water when there is clearly water in it? Needs deeper water. How deep do you need? You're at bedrock over there. Then they have showers as well. Someone is having a shower as well. Don't peek. Okay, so despite the fact that they have everything over here, they still produce less. They're still less efficient than the beaver bots. Mainly because even though they use all this, it's a very temporary thing, I think. Wait, let's see. And if you can get clicked. Yeah, so basic needs: hunger, thirst, sleep, shelter, wet fur. They have a lot of basic needs as well. And then nutrition, you need these many amount of food to keep them at so much well-being. And then social life. all this is part of the social life. Aesthetics is a part of the thing. These beaver statues or these lanterns, benches, hedges, all this is part of aesthetic. You can clearly see that the standard beavers have a lot of requirements, from hunger to nutrition, social life, aesthetics, or fun, knowledge, books. You need books. Nice. The requirements are too much. By the time you build a district with so many requirements, you basically have to use up the whole map, I think. With just this much of the map, it's already so laggy for me. It's 30 FPS right now. But imagine if you have to build all the things. The whole... I mean, it is a challenge. It is a worthwhile challenge to play. But it is a very painful challenge, I think. So better than that is the beaver bots. They have only one basic need, which is the biofuel, which can be easily produced. Wait. And boosts the cartilage and punja. That is it. And they are so much more effective. You don't have to worry about them getting hungry or tired or thirsty after traveling long distances. That's the reason I was able to build this district so far and so large. The fact is, yeah, look, they are not slowing down at all. By the time the standard beavers would have reached half the way, they would have become thirsty or hungry, and they would have slowed down for this entire journey. They would have taken double, triple the amount of time needed to go ahead and finish transferring the material to the district crossing. Okay, so this one was the third district, fourth one was the forester district, and I started metal, and once I got used to the metal, I started with the bad water. Initially this was open, so I had to manually collect the bad water, but then I soon built a bad water rig over there. As soon as the bad water rig was completed, explosives began. As soon as the explosives began, I started leveling this out. Now, before that, I also built one more district here. I think if this was the third one, the fourth district was the forest district. Oh, sorry, there is one more district here. This is the fifth district. Actually, this might be the fourth or fifth, one of them. The reason I built this district was so that I can store water here and build these dandelions. Turned out these dandelions are pretty important for antidotes. Yes, so when I was initially constructing these barriers and everything, especially these ones, during one bad tide season, this one got flooded, and the water would normally go over here. Even though it got flooded, it just went over here, and then flowed away into this pit and down out of the map. But in the bad water season, the water rushes in with a higher force than the normal water season. So it not only went down like this, it started filling this entire thing up, and the bad water came into my reservoir, natural reservoir here. That's the reason I went and built these double floodgates all around. I realized how important it is to make sure that everything is leveled up properly after this point. So at that time, most of my this was all red water. They were coming here. The beavers were getting ill very quickly and refusing to work. That's it. And that's the only time I started realizing that the herbalist is very important. Till then I was like, I'm never going to need a herbalist in my life, mainly because I'll never allow my beavers to go into the bad water. But at times it is possible that the bad water may contaminate your main water source, and if a beaver happens to go into bad water, you will need a herbalist to be there. So that's when I did the herbalist, and consequently I built a whole new district just to harvest these dandelions. And also, by the time I realized that whatever I'm doing is too excessive, so I went ahead with smaller farms, like this much of a dandelion farm, this much of a sunflower farm, and that was more than enough. Sunflowers I don't really need. I don't know what other purpose sunflower seeds have other than just eating them. Probably there is a good let's see, anything. Nope. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think sunflowers have any other use other than just being eaten. And pretty sure I'm never going to use this source of food when there is a source of food like wheat. Even carrots are better than sunflower. Sunflower is the most horrible, I think. Yeah, I get hardly 1 or 0 sunflower seeds from such a large farm. This one I mainly built for the dandelions, so that once I get the dandelions, I can go ahead and use the herbalist. Where's my herbalist? Yeah, There's only one herbalist in the entire game, by the way. You need berries, you need dandelion, and you need paper. Paper was produced from wood, dandelions was from the dandelion farm, and berry farm. I had one berry farm left over here. This one, I actually did not leave it for that purpose. I never realized that. I left it because I really wanted to have some amount of berries in my game, because berries are one thing that saved my life so many times. When I had carrot farms initially, those buggers started running out really quickly. For some reason, they eat away the carrots very quickly. But berries, on the other hand, even though they are smaller farms, they produce more berries. I do not know how that logic works, but from my trial and experience here, trial and error, the berries were getting produced in a larger quantity than the carrots, even though the berry farms were smaller, and consequently, I always had more food with the berries. Even now, I think I have. Let's see my food. Yeah, 1.1k berries with this much of a farm. Now, I understand they may not be eating the berries and instead they may choose the wheat, the bread, I mean. But still, it's a good number of berries to have. And then obviously I had that farm, so I never really bothered about berries, and that's how I kept one herbalist, and I built up a small tank because I don't think I will require a large tank of antidotes ever. The only time I will need a large total of antidotes if I'm sending my beavers into bad water intentionally all the time, which is something which won't happen. Yeah, I don't think that's something which will ever happen. I try to avoid moving them into destruction. So yeah, no, that's never going to happen, and that's the reason I built small. But I did so that in case they do accidentally go into such a situation, they should have antidotes to continue working. So I built these small tanks in every district. I think here also there's a antidote tank. Here there's some antidote. This is one district, by the way. And then here too, I think there is antidotes somewhere. Yeah, here there is antidotes. Here there is antidotes. Here, do I have antidotes? Yeah, I have antidotes here, despite the fact that this district will never need antidotes. Ever. Because this is a bot-only district. Do I have antidotes in this district? Yeah, I have antidotes. So yeah, the single herbalist was more than enough for the entire game. You really need this only if you're going to move into bad water. I think maybe in complex maps wherein there are chances of bad water contamination happening all the time, every time, this might turn out to be very good. And maybe you may also need larger water tanks. I'll play this game many more times, and I'll show many more maps wherein I have built up my entire bases. Okay, so coming back, yeah, so that's when I started building the antidotes. After this district, which I've named SND for sunflower and dandelions. Oh, sorry, this one is the sunflower, this one is the dandelions. Sunflower and dandelions. Also, in the meantime, while I was building this up, I decided let's also check out the dirt excavator. This was just for checking out purpose. This was really not my purpose to build a big hole over here. Good fertile land got wasted over here. But anyways, that is it. I built the dirt excavator for taking out dirt. The dirt, I realized, is one resource which if you gather it goes too excessive, and if you don't gather you really feel the need to gather, because dirt is the only thing that can help crops grow. You cannot allow crops to grow on the platforms which is there in parts of structures. A platform can be used to build buildings on top, but crops will not grow on it. But if you have a dirt terrain block, that's where the crops will start growing. So dirt did become important. See, what else do I have? As usual, one food storage, water storage, antidote storage, and I also always made sure to build these underground piles for logs, planks, and even polished planks, or what were those? Reinforced planks or something. Made sure to always have those as well, because I do not know what I'll be needing to build in that district, and so that I always have enough resources in that district, I make sure there is logs, planks, and also one more. What is that? Reinforced planks, I think. Yeah, treated planks. These three basic materials I always make sure it's there. Even metal, in some cases metal as well. And the other storages which will be there in the district will be those storages which are for the items that are being produced. For example, in this district, S&D district, example, I'm producing dirt, so I have dirt storages. I'm producing sunflower, I have sunflower storage. I have dandelion, I think I have dandelion storage. Where is a good question, or maybe not. This was supposed to be dandelions probably, and I never bothered. Okay, I have to add a dandelion storage out here, but yeah, you get the general idea. Whatever is going to be produced in that district, I will make sure to have a storage of it so that they always produce and keep that much amount in there, how much ever I need. Wheat is one thing which I've gone overboard because this is producing too much bread. So I went ahead and added as many storages as I can of bread so that food will never run out. Okay, so that was the fourth or fifth district, I think. This is the primary, this is the second district. This one is the third district, this one is the fourth district, this one is the fifth district. And then after this, I realized that metal is also running low. So this one finished up, they used up the ruins over here. There was also one more ruins in this farm area, which I was very slowly gathering. But then I needed a better source of metal, so I went ahead, built this long bridge, this annoying bridge. And yeah, there was a metal underground ruins over here. So this is where I established the next district. Sixth district. Yeah, this is the sixth district. This is, I aptly named it as mine, iron and earth. Sorry, iron and earth, because I also built excavators here to build extract dirt. I kind of felt that a single use of the district was an ineffective use of the district, like for example solely mining metal. But yeah, so I went ahead with dirt excavator. I also went ahead with a small forest. This forest turned out to be very important. Not this in particular, but any small forest which I had turned out to be very important just after this. After this district, I'll tell you how. So I built all the needed stuff: water, food, bread, which is the berries, and then planks, treated planks, and logs. Now, dirt and scrap metal. Metal is for the resources that are produced here. And then I built the triple lodges here, roofed it up. I have paused one triple lodge because I did not want so much population here. There are already a few unemployed out here. We just keep dancing in the dance floor. And I do not know why I built a single dance floor out here. This is the first time I was, I think, testing out these well-being stuff. Not the well-being stuff, actually. The bigger well-being stuff, sorry. I actually have well-being in almost every district. Like, they always come up with broken tooth, so I always have hospitals everywhere. Medical beds, teeth grindstones, contemplation spots. These 1 block spots, I have it everywhere. But these 2 or 4 block or larger blocks, I did not try until here. Here, just for trying to build a dance hall, and it kind of became a, I don't know, like a meme kind of thing. At the edge of the world, these people are dancing. Okay, so this was the district for mining the metal and the earth. I'll tell you about these as well. And then after this district, now that I had some metal, I can go ahead and move into one of the best districts, and something which I'm really proud of is the bot district only. This district is completely bot. Initially, I needed people to build this, which I eventually made homeless and killed them. Gosh, okay, which I eventually made homeless. But I made sure that they produced enough bots to sustain itself. So I produced the bot factories out here first. 6 bot factories, 1 for head, one for chassis, and 4 for the limbs. And then 2 bot assemblers. Again, these take a lot of power. How much does this take? Bot assembler, 250 horsepower. 150 horsepower for the bot part factory. So this is where I came here and built these large amounts of windmills over here, and this and also this large amount of gravity battery storage. This part I built it when I was building the bot factory part. So I leveled out this part of the land, started establishing the bot factory parts over here, the bot factory manufacturers, assemblers, storages for them. Yeah, I'm almost full with bot heads, bot limbs and all. And then I also, yeah, there was the bad water rig here. So anything that's related to bad water as well, I created the storage. Water was there. There was I think the extract. Yeah, these extractors, yeah, centrifuges were also built here only, so that they can take the bad water right from here and go ahead and use that to produce the extract. And then there was also the refineries which I built. And this is the first time I came across the concept of bots. And yeah, this is very late in the game. Almost 6 districts were built before I finally built a district that was manufacturing bots. And then once I started manufacturing bots, I came back to my carrot farm here, removed the carrot farm, built a bot factory farm here, bot factory over there, and then built potato farms here for supplying the refineries with potatoes for the not catalyst for the what do you say, biofuel. So that's when I finally replaced the carrot farm. But till then, the carrot farm existed. It existed for a very long part of the game, and I never really needed it so much because bread was being produced excessively. I have 23k food, out of which 22k is just bread. So yeah, that's how this part of the factory started becoming, and I'm very happy with this because this is the first part of the factory, first factory ever, first section of the districts as well, which I've completely flattened out right from the start of the district. This is the district crossing, which is near to the district as well, and this is also near to the previous district, which is Metal Alpha. So this one is at a cliff. Everything else is at a singular level. I've leveled up everything, and this time I'd produced bots, right? This is when I realized these bots are so much better. They within minutes, within instant, and I played in super fast mode, so they instantly went ahead, placed the dynamites everywhere, and they leveled up the entire thing very quickly. This was also there. They leveled this up as well. They leveled this up as well. They even built mines. Dynamited the water beds here so that more water can be stored here. And this entire thing is a water bed, by the way. You can see here there's a sluice which allows some water to go out here. But yeah, this entire thing is a water bed on which I built the planks. And obviously I did know what else to do with the large space which I've got here now that I've leveled up the entire thing. So first thing is I was running low on maple syrup, although there was one maple farm here. It wasn't really getting used at all. It was just there. This maple farm was just there, and this tank was filled. It was not really getting used. So that one started getting used once I started making this factory for the catalyst. You need one maple syrup and one extract. So extract can be produced from the bad water. I have three centrifuges that produce the extract. So extract started getting accumulated, and maple syrup. Maple syrup was running very low. So I built, now that I have so much space over here, I built one maple syrup farm here, and I have a couple of folks who will extract the maple syrup. And then this was fertile land, normal blocks, so I went and built an entire forest out here. Here there's some amount of birch, but majority is just oak. At this point I had mastered how to control the water points, so there was always enough water for me, never running out of water, and I never allowed even a bit of bad water to enter my main system. At least this one I have to rectify later on, but otherwise I never allowed even a bit of bad water to enter my system, and consequently none of my trees ever died again. And this entire thing I turned into a forest for cutting out wood, and this became very important for me because these bots, let's see, to build a bot limb you need one plank and 3 gears. Each gear takes one plank, so essentially you need 4 planks here. Then you need 5 planks, 1 water and 1 metal and 1 biofuel for the chassis. Biofuel can be produced easily, metal is extracted and produced, and again 5 planks. And then bot heads, again one plank, 3 gears, which is essentially 4 planks and 1 metal. So yeah, you can clearly see the amount of wood which is really needed to produce these pots. That's the reason I went for a very large tree farm here, which still is not enough. Mainly because I have so much more, things here to build. Like there's lumber mills, there's gear workshops, there is explosive factories. This district, I wanted it to become not only just a bot only district, but a very self-sufficient district that really does not need anything else from any other district. So that's the reason I went for wood. I didn't want to have a district all the way here for wood, which took its own sweet time to transfer the wood to this district crossing, and then from this district crossing all the way to this district crossing, and then from there to here. It was a long time that was taking for the wood to come, so I made sure to self-sustain it by adding its own wood farms. And because this district is only bought only, distance didn't matter at all. I mean, even if they die out of getting used, they can just be replaced easily. And they all moved at the same speed. If this was normal beavers, by the time they came from here to here and manufactured one plank, they would have gotten tired. It would have become night, and they would have gone to bed without ever rectifying it. So that's one thing which I'm really, really proud about this. Hold on a second. 3.1 day. Yeah, this is not fully contaminated. I think this is maybe 30-40% contaminated. I'm trying to see if this bad water tide ends, and it again will eventually get flooded because the drain will not be open. So in such a situation, will the clean water just dilute the bad water and allow it to clear out? So let me keep the speed at high so that I can observe that in this video itself. Okay, so what was I explaining? Yeah, this was the bar factory. Yeah, you can see these guys just waltzing through with the zip lines. Yeah, zip lines is a concept which also I started discovering at this point late in the game. Although I had unlocked it long ago, I never really messed with the concept until here. So basically for the already fast bots, I made them even more faster by adding zip lines. This zip line runs all around the center of the base. It comes from here till here till here, which goes from there till here, which again goes here to here. So 3 zipline stations and I think 6 pylons, and all of them connected to each other in a somewhat circular-ish pattern. It's clearly not a circle, but it surrounds it all the way. So I built the wood farm here, I built the gears plank farm, and then the punch card farm here, punch cards here, treated planks here, paper mill, 2 paper mills I still built, and soon I also paper mills is something that I realized I do need a lot, because these windmills, they take paper. I initially produced so much paper and I had so much paper that I never really needed that paper. But when I built my first earth excavator, this needed 500 paper. This is where I started running so low on paper. That's the reason I stopped these as well. I completely low prioritized it to very low. And in bot districts, I made sure beavers are the ones to occupy it so that no one occupies it. And in beaver districts, I made sure bots are the ones so that and with low priority, they will never get filled and never accumulate the paper. What a waste of okay, actually not a waste, but still a lot of paper to be used up over there. So yeah, and then this part, after this is all water. So what can I do with the space with water? That's when I realized, let's build up one more power farm. Because of the limited number of sources of power in this game, it really forces you to utilize everything you've got. So the water wheel, I could only go for one section of the water wheel here, and that only works in the normal season. It doesn't work in the dry or the bad tide season like it is right now. This one only works in the water in the active seasons, and if I'm playing passively with just leaving the game on as it is, it'll never work. So I wanted a storage, a power system that produced so much power and stored so much power that I'll never have to worry about power. That's when I decided, let's go ahead and build one section just for windmills, all large windmills connected to each other, and then this section, the gravity battery. So first I built a stairwell up till here. Actually, to be honest, this one was extremely larger than what it is right now. It went all the way till the top. You could see this building from a corner of the map as well. That's how tall it was. But the problem is, with such a tall building, it started lagging. Just with the blueprints, it started lagging like crazy. Right now I'm getting 30 FPS. I think that time it was just 20 FPS or something, even lesser probably. And my settings, let me see. Yeah, this Ultra 1440. unlimited frame rate. But yeah, with that, just the blueprint of that tall structure, I wanted that so that these gravity batteries can store at least not 10,000, at least 1 lakh, or rather 100,000 horsepower per hour. So what I did was I built a stairwell all the way top, and then deleted most of the buildings, and then just kept it just what is this, one triple platform tall from the base. And then this one was also water, which was 3 blocks deep. So then first I built the stairwell, went all the way top, built all the batteries. Then it was storing only 2000 horsepower because there was paths over here, and then there was the triple platforms as well. So it was only storing 2000 HP. Then after I finished constructing these power shafts over here, I went ahead and destroyed the paths. Then it was storing 4000 mAh. Then I destroyed the triple platforms which were right next to it. Once the triple platforms were destroyed, yeah, then it was storing, I think, 10,000 still. It was still not 14,000. Then I went and destroyed the platforms below it as well. That's when it's storing 14,000. Now, with this much amount of storage and with this much amount of power, one would think that, yeah, I'm never going to run out of power, but actually I did run out of a lot of power. You see, at that point, this smart industry district, I was expanding rapidly, and to make sure it produces everything, I added all these buildings, explosive factories, wood workshops, a lot of gear workshops and plank workshops as well, the lumber mills. And then obviously these have the bot factory assemblers and what else do they? Yeah, the paper mills are there, the refineries are there. Yeah, so this kind of, I think the only thing that's really not here is the metal production. The metal raw scraps get produced here, and then the smelter produces the metal. And even with these 3 smelters, I have 1k. Wait, I have 7.5k metal blocks. I don't think I'll ever need metal ever again, or at least in this run, I don't think I'll ever need metal again. Because of the sheer volume of metal which I produce. Probably in the next run, which I do with the iron beavers, I may need more of the metal blocks. So, okay, what was I doing? Yeah, so that's how I built the battery storage here. Not to run out of power, but because of the sheer volume of buildings over here, I was consuming far too much power than the battery could store. Although, during good seasons like this, where it was producing, 229 horsepower, that's a good one. It produces, I think, up to 300 maximum. Yeah, 300 horsepower is the maximum at high wind speeds. This one is slightly lower than high wind speed, so 220, which is still good enough. I was still running really low on power. So then I decided, and then again, this part of the map I again used for wood, because I was running really low on wood over here. With all these gear factories, these lumber mills and everything, wood became extremely short for me. You can see clearly in this district there's 14, 15, 20 wood. That is it. That is always the wood. Although in the whole game I have 1.3k. Okay, it's back to normal season. Okay. Yeah. So on the whole map I have 1.3, but in this particular district I'm still so low on wood. There's only 19 wood being produced. All these are oaks, except for a few over here which are birch. This is oak, this is oak, this is oak, this is oak. Why aren't these being cut down? Yeah, there are timber pots here. And then I also have one more pine resin farm, because I realized the punch cards need the pine resin. Where's the punch card factory? Here it is. Printing press produces punch card. Needs 2 paper and 1 plank. Okay, not that one then. The treated planks. They needed the pine resin, so I went and built a pine tree farm out here. And I don't think I really needed this. I don't know why I thought of needing it, because I had one pine farm already here. Oh yeah, I think I wanted this district to be so powerful, so strong. And this is, I think, the second biggest district after the prime district. Let's see. This is the prime district, the prime OTP. This one extends all the way till here, 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 and here. Oh, and this too. So it is a pretty large district, but I think after that district, or maybe almost as big as that, that's how this smart industry district is. And this is completely bots. Bots and bots and bots. Let me see if some districts are running low. New farm, how many do you need in new farm? There's 10, 15, 20, yeah. Tree needs 10, SND needs 0, iron not 0, labor's fruit needs 40, yes. Prime OTP needs 50. 50 of these bot beavers. The reason it needs 50 bot beavers is because, like I said, I've kept every district crossing with just bot beavers because of the speed at which they move till to and from the district, and I need them to be super fast. I don't want people to get tired or thirsty in between. So the primary district is connected to one district crossing, two district crossing, three district crossing, and then it also has its own builder's hut. Also, the builder's hut and the district building, I filled it up with bots as well so that they can go quickly construct anything. They construct really quickly. So there is 10 over here, 20, then there is 30 over here, then 30 over here. This is one more 4 and 4, that's 38. 38 and wait, I think this one, no, not this one. What else do I needed it for? I'm sure I needed it for something else. Where else would they go? Okay, some of them are haulers and some of them are in the earth recruiter for this one particular district. So I've kept up to 50 over here. For the rest of the district, like let's say this new farm, only 4 over here, 10 over here, and then 4 more over here. So that's like 18 or something, but I've kept 20, two buffer bots, so that they don't ever need. Building needs water. My man, you have water. Ah, okay. I think it needs to be more deeper. Yeah, so well, let's see this part. Yeah, it's getting diluted little by little. Slowly it's getting diluted. And this one is dried out. It's okay. I don't really need this section. I mainly need this part of the section to be filled with water. And that water mainly comes from, yeah, this water source. Even if this closes up, this water source, which is right from here. Okay, correct. This one comes all the way from here. Yeah, this main reservoir. Still flowing, I see. Okay, so it comes all the way here. It enters here, and that's it. 2 places. It comes all the way, fills everything over here, fills everything over here, comes over here, and then this goes through here. This one I initially kept it higher so that I can separate the sections and keep a... I wanted the water to come only from here for this and avoid any flooding. But it's okay for now. Then it goes here, and then it goes here. If I really need water, excess, a little more water, I can go ahead and open this gate as well. That will also get in water. Or I can just keep it at auto. It will constantly send down some water. But hey, nope, I don't need it. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So this is a funny thing I was experimenting with. I wanted to see how much water I would need so as to avoid flooding. Now this section over here, the smart industry section, is all on the, I think, the lowest level, or just one above the lowest level. So really any excess water that comes here will flood this entire thing. It's all on a single level. That's one major point about these singular level bases, is that they will get flooded very quickly, and this one is at a very low level as well. So this one, just a little excess of water and this will start flooding. So I was testing out a concept wherein I leave one of these sluices open, make sure it's not synchronized with adjacent slides, and keep these open so that all the water flows here. There is some amount of overflow that goes back into the void. That way I can ensure that only the required amount of water comes. But this concept failed miserably. It still flooded the entire thing, so I stopped completely. I never really need this source of water. Maybe if I'm building some mega projects or something, I could need a lot more water. In such a case, I think I can have this. But really, I don't need that much source of water here. And here it's still... Yeah, I don't think this will get cleared out. The flooding kind of messed it up. Let's see what I should do here. I mean, it's really not so much required because I still get the main source of water from here, and this one is not flooding into it with this. So the entire thing is coming over here. It's getting stored in this reservoir, and you can see it's almost full, just very little less left behind. All of that is just coming into these, and these are already filled. Yeah, these are heavily filled. This one is also right at the border, and these reservoirs will fill up every other part of the base as well, including this section, the smart city section, which will go all the way till here and here. It's filled. This one I've kept it to flow. Yeah, this one is also filled. So really I have to look at the most bottom section of the map to know how much really needs to be filled more. And this one is the bottommost point for me, at least. So yeah, it's almost filled. That one is filled. Even this one is filled. This one... Interesting. Maybe if I open this... Oh yeah, during the active seasons, I just open this so that these can run. This will fill up this whole pool, and it'll also fill up this. I think that time the Lido thing will get cleared. Okay, so coming back to the the smart city district. So that's the smart city which I've built. Produces bots. I've kept the priority of the bot factories to higher than others, and things like these explosives which I'm already working over here. This was just to make sure this district produces everything. That's the only reason I added these explosive factory. Otherwise, really, I didn't need explosives. Explosives were filled everywhere. Everywhere I have explosives, they're filled. Okay, not here. Here, there's not needed also. But yeah, these explosives are filled. Here also, I think, yeah, it's filled. So, but I still added it because in case there are extra bots, let them be put to work. Wood is thing which I... Look at this. Just 11, 17 woods. That's a very low amount of wood. I think most of it is just getting used on the paper mills to produce paper. How much paper do I have? 411. Overall in the game, it's 416. For this particular district, I have 92. Yeah, the paper is getting used up in these punch cards. Where do I have punch cards? Yeah, punch cards. I'm so once I started using bots, I realized the only things I need to focus is biofuel, punch cards, and what is the other thing? Catalyst. Biofuel needs potato and water. Catalyst needs maple syrup and extract, which comes from the centrifuge. And then punch cards. Punch cards which come from paper and... Oh, what's the other thing? Paper and a plank. So these are the three main things which I want to focus on this region. And I want to make sure that all my bots here are at full productivity. They have the catalyst punch cards. So they can... Yeah, they can have a condition set to 2. Which means that they move at the fastest pace and everything. Better than normal beavers. 100 times better. Okay, not 100, but many times better. Now, obviously, these ones, right, these braziers of bonding and all, I never initially built them because they were expensive to build. And also, they do take up space, which I could normally use for something else. But later on, as I started progressing into the bot systems, I started building these everywhere because now the citizens can have something to look up to. So I built wherever I could find space. All these are extra spaces in the map. Something which I never planned to build. Yeah. Yeah, these spaces are all unused spaces. I did not build anything over there. And so I built these places of botting over there. And then these earth recultivators, these I had to remove some like I had to remove some beehives or some crops and then build the recultivator here. Then I had to remove even the potato farm over here and build the recultivator. I set up the sunflower seed here so that it looks pretty. But these guys are just harvesting the sunflower seeds and I don't know what to do about it. I don't know if there's a way to stop them harvesting. Because I need them to plant it as well. So maybe after they plant I can stop this farm so that they don't harvest it at all. So I built one more earth recultivator here. This one is massive, 100 blocks. If I'm right, yeah, that's a wonder monument. That's 40 tiles. Yeah, 40 tiles. That's a large. Yeah, so I built a recultivator there. I built a recultivator here. And then I built one more recultivator here. 3 recultivators right now. I'm thinking of going for another 4th one, but really, what's the point? I've already launched this, so the game is already over for me at this point. I'll launch it at the end of this episode as well. But yeah, just so that the citizens are in awe. A requirement which is completely useless. I'm thinking of replacing all the citizens with just bots. And then you only need potato farms, you need maple farms, and you need trees for the punch cards. That is all you ever need. If you replace all of the citizens with bots. I haven't done that yet because I haven't figured out how to sustain it. How much bots do I need to produce to sustain a base? Let's say Prime OTP. So many tasks are there. How do I sustain these many tasks with the production of the bots? This is something I have to sit and calculate, and I'm too lazy to do that. But since I haven't figured it out, I've just left it at status quo right now. The citizens, the beavers producing themselves automatically based on the number of houses I've got. And then for, let's say, these tasks like the district crossings where I need them to move fast, I've added the beaver bots in some of the districts, not all, some of them. Yeah, that's about the main district out here, which is the smart industry. One of the best districts I've built so far. Maybe in the next run I'll have an even better district. But I really like this district because I flattened out the entire land, built up an entire source of power, made it self-sustaining. They produce 3 bots in 3 factories every 36 hours. They never run out of the resources needed to produce that because these are on high priority. And the bots constantly take care of everything. I'm thinking if I maybe in a future run with a single district and with a shit ton of zipline stations across the district, maybe a real circle, I can cover the entire map without having to worry about building multiple districts. A single mega district, basically. This is halfway there already. But then I guess it'll still take a lot of time for the beavers, even the bots, to travel till the edge of the map. Perhaps that's the need of districts, more and more districts. Okay, so that was the 7th district, if I'm right. And then the final district, which I call Fruits Labor. Now, this district is just, how do I say it? It's the fruit of all the labor of all the previous generations. So the first generations of the game, they were all just working to survive, have enough food and have enough water. That was the main purpose of the first generation, and that they did well. And then they expanded, they harvested wood, they expanded, they built on efficiency, not on luxury or comfort or any of that stuff. Their main purpose was surviving. So their main purpose was to be efficient, and their main purpose was to harvest only what is needed, the needed important basic resources. But after reaching this beaver bot stage, wherein bots were able to take care of everything very quickly, efficiently, I decided let's go for a little bit more luxury for the citizens of this district. So this district, I added bots for workers. So all the working buildings like the mine or the smelters or the district crossing or even the main district building itself is filled with bots who will work over here without getting tired. And the beavers who are there here in this district, only 3 of these are enabled right now. So the beavers who are there here, their sole purpose in this whole district is just to run. I don't even need that power, by the way. I'm just making the run for the sake of it. I could use that extra power, not like I couldn't. In case like these times when there is no windmill production, and you can see clearly there's a drop in the gravity battery. These will not help a lot, but it'll help somehow. I think each gives 50 horsepower. Yeah, 64, 50, roughly around 50. So if I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 5s are 45. So 450 horsepower. Let's assume roughly 500 horsepower per line. So 500, 1000, 1500, 2000, 2500, 3000 horsepower is what will get produced here. If all of these wheels are filled, which obviously they are not going to be filled because I need to uh, unlock more houses. The reason I have not unlocked more houses, and the reason I have also, these citizens which are over here were all idle citizens in all the other districts that were replaced by bot workers. For example, the district crossings were replaced by bot workers. So all those extra citizens that were there, I went ahead and shut down the houses in the respective districts, took down all the idle citizens and made them come over here to the Labor's Fruit Paradise Island. And here their sole purpose is to just run a treadmill and look after their health while they enjoy the dance, the carousel, the fountain of joy, which I've built by cleverly reducing the sluice and making sure the water goes in, and then adding these shrubs on top of it so that no one ever realizes what's happening over there. I also added one more. Wait. Oh, I need 5 more actually. Need 5 more pots here. 1 second, let me. Labor's Fruit should be 45. Because I have 1, 2, 3, and then I need haulers as well. Yeah, I need haulers because the agara and I think even the mud pit needs haulers to have, so that the beavers, actual flesh beavers here, can enjoy this. So that's the reason I named it as Labor's Fruit. I was thinking of making it much bigger and make it more cool as well. Like have each house have their own shower, make a house like this, add a fence around it, and then add all the items of luxury inside that house, such that the house takes up a lot of space. And each of the things like this shower or the contemplation, medical bed, etc., is there in the house, so that each family can have all the luxuries they ever need. I thought of doing that, but then I realized that's too much space needed, and if I have to do that, I have to blow up this whole section and maybe even take over some part of this section to build that. So I never went ahead with it, but if this produces, if this needs to go forward, that is the only thing you can do right now. There's nothing else here. I've accomplished everything in this map, in this basic map, in this beginner map, and I've already, as I said, made the Earth Recruiter and unleashed it already. I finished the game long ago. Oh yeah, this. Remember when I told this was still not enough? So I realized just let me build one more large windmill farm, and I built an even more bigger windmill farm out here. Connected it to these power shafts. These power shafts are a very unique thing here in TimberBorn. And now when playing games like Satisfactory, you just have to connect the wires, and the wires will never obstruct anything. So basically the wires can't go through buildings, they'll just clip through buildings, and or you can even hide it out by having connectors on walls and everything. But here in TimberBorn, there is no concept of wires, there's only concept of shafts, and these shafts take one whole block, and these blocks literally block everything. Oh, thank goodness. I thought there was no way for these. Because of these shafts, I thought they'll never go. But actually, these shafts are built. I realized this is the best way to transfer the power. Build these shafts on top of platform. Otherwise, they will. If you build the shaft on the floor, they will block everything. If the beavers have to access the section that's beyond that particular shaft line, they'll have to go all around it. So that's one unique concept in this game, and it creates a good challenge of how to build effectively. You cannot have sections filled with just shafts because they will block everything else. So the best workaround is to build them on top of these platforms, and that's what I've done for majority of the shafts everywhere. You can see here. Yeah, these ones are on the ground. Could have done a better job over here, but this was the initial part, so I really didn't understand how to do it. Here I started doing it with the better way. You can see I'm connecting them all below and building the paths above. keeping them below but building the parts above, and then yeah, connecting them with connectors and everything. And then these two connecting it. Weird thing about the gravity battery is you cannot connect these shafts behind the battery. You have to connect them to the side, behind, or even front. Let's see. uh, Actually, you can connect them behind, sorry. It's not in the front then. So initially I thought, let me build it like this and then connect these two, and that should connect the battery, but it never actually connected it because it's the front of this to the front of this. So I had to go at the side of this over here and then connect it to the side. Maybe even in the back I could have tried, like this one here. So that's about the world tour of this map. There's so many ruins that I've never extracted because I don't really need. I have tamed 2 mines, one mine with normal beavers and one more mine with bot beavers, and I've tamed one badwater rig, and I'm using it currently. There's one more badwater rig over here at the top here. Now this one I just built to stop the flow of badwater over here. That is it. That was the sole purpose of building this badwater rig. I could have just built a badwater dome because I'm not really using it, and I don't really need to use it at all because I'm producing way too much bad water already. You can see in the the smart factory district, smart industry district, the bad water is filled. So is in the metal alpha district. These are the two places where you'll barely use the bad water. Every other place you're going to use the what is this? The extract for the explosives. So I've got extracts, liquids placed almost in every district. Yeah, here too, here as well. Then here as well. Yeah, extract I've got placed everywhere except for this forest district, which I don't really need. This is still not cleared. Yeah, this one has to be back flushed in order for it to go. Otherwise, the whole cycle it'll remain like that. Yeah, I'll do this. I'll just remove this and then close this section so that all the water just flows here. Eventually, that water will also go away here. It'll create a flow like this. And then my guys can come and take care of it. And then I'll have to go rebuild this. Oh god, I have to go destroy this section and then go rebuild it. But then I guess I can build it in a reverse direction so that in case such a flood happens and this section gets contaminated, I can do this thing section over the thing which I just did and force all the bad water to go away like this. Maybe I can do that. But yeah, hey, this is the tour of my base. Let me give a top down shot of everything. So here's the primary base, pot factory parts, second base, second district. This one I believe is the third one. Fourth one, the forest district. Fifth one, the sunflower district and the dandelion district as Henry. Then the sixth one, the mining district. The seventh district, one of my favorite districts, which is a smart industry, a complete bot dominated in this district, and it looks good top as well. Everything boxed out very well. And then the final district, which is fruits, labors, and this game is actually pretty decent, very good. It really forces you to think, really forces you to not mess up stuff, and yeah, if you really do mess up, it just goes downhill very fast. My first run was going very smooth, except that at one point I built too many houses and, well, too many citizens, and consequently too much food needed, but I did not produce that much, and it just screwed over like crazy. I did record that session as well, but I never uploaded it. It's still there somewhere in my files. Alright, let's finish this episode by launching the Earth Recultivator. Let's go, lanterns. So that's it for my first world tour. I may continue this series and build more bases and in maybe more complicated environments with maybe the next faction as well, the Iron Beaver faction. I unlocked it in this run. Probably use it in the next run. Yeah, let's see how it goes. Alrighty, everyone. Have a good one. Bye.